Hi, I'm Phoenix City Councilman Sal DiCiccio, and welcome to On the Issues. Today we have a very important program, and you're probably wondering, what's Sal going to be talking about this month? And then you're also probably asking yourself, why is Sal wearing a pink shirt? I've never seen the guy in a pink shirt before. Well, it's an important time in our community right now. The month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we have individuals with the American Cancer Society with us today to talk about it. And the fact that we're trying to get individuals become even more aware of some of the symptoms that are going on with women in particular, but the fact that it's now growing as a problem for men as well, and this is a horrible cancer. I've got Colleen McKinstry with me, and then Mark Reisig with me as well. Mark has a personal story to tell, and then Colleen can talk to us more about the American Cancer Society, some of the awareness levels. The fact that it's still the #2 cause of death amongst women. I mean, you would think that with all this information that we have out there, with all of the awareness that's out there, we still have a lot of women out there that are just not aware of it. And in particular, even men. Men, most men, we were talking about this right before the program, that most of us just don't even think about that. But it is something that could have an impact on men. And it does have an impact on men. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're seeing out there with the American Cancer Society, some of the awareness levels, part of this campaign, and then I'll turn it over to Mark to look at what some of the men are doing now to create this awareness and how we're banding together as a community. Colleen, tell us a little bit about some of the symptoms that are out there that women need to be aware of.
First, I would like to just say that I have a personal story as well.
Oh, wow.
I will be 13 years breast cancer free this Friday.
Congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
God bless you.
Thank you. And I reached out to the American Cancer Society during my own battle for resources and information. Women, I always advocate that women need, and men, you need to know your own bodies. By that I mean you need to do a self-exam. You need to feel your breasts. You need to know what they feel like normally so that you can tell if there is a suspicious mass and you know that that is not what is normally found in your breasts. You should also look for nipple discharge, dimpling of your breast, redness, warmness, very hot to the touch. Those are all symptoms of breast cancer and an alert that there could be something wrong. So you should immediately call your doctor and he would tell you what your next best steps are. Men also think that they, like you said, are immune to breast cancer. You have breasts, so you can get breast cancer. 250,000 women in the United States this year will hear the words you have breast cancer. More than 40,000 of them will die from this disease. And 2,600 men will hear those words and over 400 of them will die. So it's important to know your body and to visit your doctor regularly and talk to him about your findings or things that you notice about your body that are not normal.
So what would be one of the first steps other than calling the doctor, doing the exam? I think you've outlined some of the specific things that are out there. Should they also call the American Cancer Society for Arizona? And do you have a phone number for them that they can call?
We have an 800 number, 800-227-2345, where we have trained National Cancer Information Specialists who can help you with resources, information, anything at all that you need to know relating to cancer. We're open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, 7 days a week. It's amazing. And there's always a person, a live person you're speaking to. So the American Cancer Society can give you resources, but we will always kick you back to your doctor because they would know best.
But you can give them some basics at that point.
Absolutely, yep.
Fantastic. And so what caught you first right off the bat on your personal story? What made you realize that you had breast cancer, and what was the red flag that you saw?
I was undergoing in vitro fertilization at the time. I've always wanted to be a mother. Turns out that I wasn't able to thanks to cancer, but I think that my friends will tell you it's almost a blessing in disguise because two of me, I don't know if the world's ready for that.
Well, I think they are.
I don't know. But so while I was doing my regular, normal monthly self-exam, I found something that was suspicious, and I went to my gynecologist, and they rushed me in for an ultrasound and a mammogram, and then the rest was history. But that's pretty much how I found my own.
Is there a specific age? I'm sure it covers all ages, but is there a specific age that people really need to become even more aware?
I think you should always be aware. I mean, starting as early as you can. In your teens, I did a self-exam in my teens. So you should be as early as possible.
And then Mark Reisig is here. Tell us a little bit about your personal story, Mark, what got you involved with this campaign, and what it means to you, and what you're trying to do to get men involved.
Sure. Well, first off, thanks very much for having us here, Sal. I'm happy to be here. So a couple of things really got me involved and interested in being a part of this awareness for the month. My sister underwent breast cancer most recently, and she's a survivor, and she's been able to come through that. So it really hit home for me. You know, you hear about so many different people, but when it's somebody close to you, whether it's a family member or a close friend, it certainly makes an impact. So being with her through chemotherapy and seeing how she responded to that, and just being a supporter of her certainly is one of the reasons why I'm here today. In addition, at Health Choice, where I work, I have a team member that is also going through a very similar situation with breast cancer, so our prayers and thoughts are out to her and her family as she works through the process. Some other things I just wanted to mention that we're doing through Health Choice. For example, we have a pink wall that we've created in our office. So when you walk into our reception area, you see this big pink wall where all of our associates and team members and employees have the opportunity to pledge their allegiance to really supporting those that have breast cancer. So we're really trying to get a lot of energy within our own organization to promote awareness of it. And then secondly, our parent company, IASIS Healthcare, did a Rock the Pink event. We sponsor the Phoenix Suns, so we were happy to get out there and rock the pink with our Phoenix Suns fans. So those are just a couple of examples. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention at Health Choice, we're really working to promote the awareness with our members as well as our providers. And so we have some strategic call lists that our case managers are making calls out to remind them to go for screenings. So those are just some examples of things we're doing at Health Choice. And then lastly, back to Colleen, your point, you know, I think as a male, it's something to just sort of check your ego against, right? We can never really be too aware. And I think, you know, you mentioned some of the techniques that women do. Men need to be doing the same things, and you can never be too careful and cautious about checking yourself. So I would just encourage all the men out there to please make sure you're doing that on a regular basis.
What kind of successes have you had so far with that, Mark?
You know, we've really done a lot of promoting internally and just, again, bringing awareness. And I think just continuing to gauge our members and our providers and making them aware and letting them know we're there for them has really been some of the success points that we've had. And we've had a lot of positive feedback on our website, healthchoiceaz.com, responding from our various members and providers, and just letting them know we're an active part of the community and wanting to partner with them.
The American Cancer Society also will tell you that you reduce your risk of developing cancer for certain things. Getting your screenings, making sure you live a healthy lifestyle, and that you're active and you're fit. Those are the easiest ways that we can detect cancer early at its most treatable stages.
And so, I mean, many of us, in my household, they're all women in there except for me. And it's just interesting because, you know, you care about your family. But men, to a large degree, have been detached from this issue because they've never seen it as their issue. But it is, whether it's them personally or even worse would be if someone in their household or someone part of their family were to get this. And I think that's one of the things that we need to really stress that's out there, is that as males, we have an obligation to protect our family too. And one of the protections is we've got to make sure that we're aware of what's going on. We've got to make sure that they're on their game too, that these types of checks, self-checks are occurring. You know, I've got 2 daughters, a wife, you know, and you look at it too genetically. So it's one of those things that you always wonder if it's genetic or if it's not. I mean, it's hard to tell exactly what causes any of these types of cancers.
Our biggest risk to develop breast cancer as women is that we're women. 1 in 8 of us will develop breast cancer in our lifetime. And at the American Cancer Society, that's too many. So we're doing what we can to help save more lives. And the 2 of you, I want to thank the 2 of you so much for becoming members of our brand new campaign, Real Men Wear Pink. It's important for you as leaders in the community to stand up and show other men that you can wear pink and you look awesome and you're amazing, and you are bringing awareness to an issue that is for men and for all the women that you love that are affected by breast cancer. So I did have a little gift for you.
Well, that's so
You're a
nice.
real man.
Thank you.
Wear a pink pin, so please wear it with pride.
We
and when
will.
people ask you, tell them why you're doing it, and tell them how you are supporting the American Cancer Society.
Well, I've got to tell you, I went into one of the coffee shops in my district today, right? And I saw a guy wearing pink. I'm like, the first thing I thought of was like, I wonder if he's wearing it for the campaign. That's the first thing I thought about. You know, in the past, I wouldn't think about that. But for the month of October, I think it's important, especially, and it's just something that it trains us all. When we pick a month out, it's only about because we want to get people aware so that they're doing it the rest of the 11 months too.
Absolutely. It's
You
not
know?
just a month.
Yeah.
And anyone
It's a
out there
lifestyle.
that's watching us can support either one of these two men or the other 31 that are involved by visiting makingstrideswalk.org/realmenphoenixaz. Both of these handsome gents will have their pictures there and make a donation and support their efforts in the fight against breast cancer.
And so if people wanted to make a donation to the American Cancer Society, and in particular this issue, how would they do that?
They can either do it, like I just said.
Yeah.
I'm also the community manager of our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, which is October 22nd at Tempe Beach Park. Hopefully you two will be there because we will be honoring you from the stage. It's a three-mile non-competitive walk. Last year we had 15,000 people at the party.
Wow.
And raised $805,000.
Wow.
This year we're going to bring 20,000 people and raise $1 million.
Well, what time will that be?
That will be at 8 a.m.
Perfect.
Registration starts at 7 a.m. And you can find out all the information you want about that at makingstrideswalk.org/PhoenixAZ. And please also visit our website with any questions or concerns about cancer at cancer.org.
Well, I will be there.
Awesome.
Make you a commitment on that too. And the fact of the matter is, October 22nd is also my wife's birthday.
Yay!
You know, and then today is our anniversary.
Awesome.
So the day we tape this program. So it's interesting, but it also brings everything back into perspective that this is about your family and wanting to make sure that they're protected. So one of the first calls I'm going to make after this is I'm going to call my wife and say, hey, where are we with the kids? Where are we with you? And, you know, that kind of a thing. And I think that's the least that we should be able to do.
Yeah.
The second part of it is promoting this. And the story that you've got, Mark, is very heartfelt. I knew and I know your sister. And, you know, the emotional toll that it takes. I mean, I think if we can briefly describe the emotional toll that it takes on a family.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a little bit different and unique for everyone that's been through it. But when it hits you, it's a mental drain, and it's very emotional to see, you know, your family members, your loved family members going through that. So, you know, the thing for me was to really just try to keep positive, a lot of prayer, a lot of communication, and just send positive vibes. And through it all, right, you become stronger as a family, right? You learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about your siblings, in this case, my sister. So at the end of the day, it was a very uplifting experience, especially since the results have been very positive so far.
Well, that's great for
Awesome.
both of you. You know, God bless you both.
Thank you.
The fact that it must have been very difficult for you in particular, Colleen, I think it's a shock. It's very, I can't even imagine what you went through, especially at the very beginning stages of that.
It's
you
hard to
know.
describe.
Yeah.
First, you're scared, you're panicked. I didn't know anyone personally who had breast cancer. I was 41 years old.
Yeah.
No one in my family had it. I needed to make informed decisions about my treatment and about my cancer, and I turned to the American Cancer Society. But 13 years later, after 3 surgeries,
Wow.
8 rounds of chemo, and 35 radiation treatments, I'm here today to show people that if cancer is found at an early treatable stage, we can survive and thrive. And I want that to be the message.
Well, thank you both for being here today and sharing your personal story. I know it's a difficult story to talk about, but it's something that's important for us to all talk about. And Colleen, thank you for all that you're doing to get the information out there. Mark, thank you and your company for all that you're doing to get the information out there and getting people aware. October 22nd, Tempe Beach Park, 8 a.m. We're going to have thousands of people out there talking about this issue.
And all wearing pink.
And all wearing pink. And the main thing that I want to make sure that our viewers understand is that this is the #2 killer amongst women for cancer. And it's something that we really need to all be vigilant about. We need to be talking about it. We need to be talking to our families about it. And for those of you that have been watching, the first thing that you ought to do is pick up the phone. I'm going to do that. I'm going to call my wife. She's out of town right now and work, but I'm going to call her and I'm going to find out where we're at with that, and I would suggest that you do the same as well. Thank you for being on the issues. This is Sal DiCiccio, and I really appreciate everything you've done. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We're walking for my mom. It's her 5-year anniversary.
My wife, Jerry, is a survivor. For my mom.
All right, we're doing it for JoJo, my mom.
Team JoJo.
We're walking for every woman. Walking to support those that are not here. Because I'm a 7-year survivor, baby. I got a reason to walk.
So we can see more birthdays.
It's a cause that I believe in. We need to fight. And hopefully one day we'll get a cure. So I'm gonna walk until we get that cure.
Hi, this is Phoenix City Councilman Sal DiCiccio, and this is On the Issues. This program, I'm telling you, is going to rock your world because I'm going to show you things that are happening behind the scenes that you never get a chance to see. Matter of fact, things that even the news media doesn't even pick up. You've heard where the City of Phoenix is going to raise your property tax by $37 million. Let me cover with you the basic facts so that you understand that you and your family are going to be paying this money for no reason. I'm going to walk you through what's been happening, I'm going to give you a little history, then I'm going to show you the government waste that goes behind it and how government profits on the poor. So I'm going to show you a few things here today that you don't get a chance to see. But let me give you at least an example of what's happening around the country right now. What you're seeing around the country is an incredible amount of anguish, disenfranchisement with the political system. You're seeing on the right and the left, where the Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, and liberals are finally starting to see that possibly their government's not working for them the way it needs to work for them. You're seeing this across the country. It's not just here in Arizona. Because what is happening right now, the insiders who have controlled the government for so long have literally designed it so that they are protecting themselves. And by protecting themselves, they're taking money out of the pockets from you, and they're paying themselves all these dollars, these millions, if not billions of dollars across the country. And what you've seen across the country, you've seen it in other places where people have been rioting. They've been saying things like, hey, we're not getting our fair share. And then you got other people that are saying, well, hey, we got billions of dollars coming your way. They're both right. The poor have not been getting the services that they deserve. They don't get it. Even though we talk about it, they don't get it. And I'm going to show you how we got there. But before we get there, let me show you a little bit of what's been happening in the last year in the city of Phoenix. In the last year alone, the city of Phoenix now wants to raise your property taxes. That's going to be in July, first week of July. They want a $37 million a year increase in your property tax, even though the city of Phoenix has the highest revenue that we've ever had in our history, and we have a $60 million surplus. And you're thinking, well, that's not logical. Why do they want to provide, get more taxes out of my pocketbook, right? Let me show you what's been happening. $37 million a year in a property tax increase that the Phoenix City Council, the politicians, are going to be voting on this year. This is on top of a $31.5 billion mass transit tax increase for trains that have been outdated. Most people have moved over to the Uber system or Lyft. That's really the new trend. Places like that in California are already starting to look at that. But instead, the city of Phoenix put in outdated a train system, $31.5 billion. They've also increased your water tax by $15 million a year. That all happened this year. And then third, which most people in the public don't understand what occurred here, there's an $8 million a year commuter tax. And you're thinking, well, what is that? So we want to encourage people to use and commute. We want them to carpool when they go to the airport, right? So what's happened, the city of Phoenix realized that a lot of these parking lots that are outside of the city of Phoenix airport area, they're getting full up because the city of Phoenix is so expensive to park there. So what the city of Phoenix did is they said, well, let's charge this commuter tax on them. And then that passed this year too in a very slim vote, on a 5-4 vote. Matter of fact, the water tax increase that occurred this year, you won't start seeing that until this summer. That $15 million a year, that was another 5-4 vote. But let's evaluate where it's going. What's happening here with that? Let's start here, because I want to show you an example of government waste. The City of Phoenix, in the City of Phoenix, the most expensive private sector apartment complex at 26th Street and Camelback, private sector, was sold at $277,000 a door. That's per door. That's in the private sector, right? Average housing in the City of Phoenix is right around $200,000 a home. Not to be outdone, the City of Phoenix is building affordable housing, apartments on 24th Street in Van Buren on property that we already own for $281,000 a door. I got into a discussion with some of my other colleagues. I said, look, this is an outrage, because not only are you taking money from the people who, literally work hard, they're hardworking taxpayers, you're taking more than you need, but you're also not providing the amount of services to the poor. We can build those for less than $150,000 a unit. So why not do that? I didn't get, that was a close vote here as well. Matter of fact, we ended up trying to stop it. That didn't happen. So the City of Phoenix is now spending $32 million of your money on housing that they call affordable housing at 24th Street in Van Buren, more expensive than the most expensive building, apartment building ever sold in the City of Phoenix at $277,000 a door on 26th Street in Camelback. And the question is where's the money going? And this is really what's happening around the country right now. The government has been profiting on the poor. They've been taking monies away. We literally could provide double the housing for the poor that we've deemed necessary that they need to have. They need to have a home, right? And people know I'm conservative, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you're right or left, conservative or liberal, money matters. And if you're using it and wasting it on things like this and not providing the services that you promised the public that you wanted to do, you run into a problem. Sooner or later, you run out of money, and then you don't provide the services. And then that's why you're starting to see all these things happening at the national level, that there are same things that are happening here at the local level. The politicians are not listening to the public. They're not doing all the right things that they're supposed to be doing. A lot of these things, this is all done by self-interest. That's what caused this to occur. So the City of Phoenix now took in all these millions of dollars, kept it and distributed it amongst themselves, instead of providing these services to the poor. And the question you run into is, how are we getting here? What is really happening behind the scenes? Again, the news media is just not giving you the right information. These are all numbers that came from the City of Phoenix. These are their numbers, not mine. These are the things that the research we've done. It's taken us months to dig into this. But if you look at it, look at our pension liability and our pension cost. $3.5 billion in unfunded pension liability. You're thinking, what does that mean? That means we don't have the money. Unfunded means we don't have the funds appropriated to fund the pension costs that are coming in the future. So what's happening in the City of Phoenix is that we don't have the funds to do this, and we're taking more and more money out of your pocketbook. If you look at our retirement costs every year, it's over $320 million a year we spend on just retirement costs alone. So you're thinking now, wow, Sal, you've been able to show me the problem. What's the real solution here? Well, how do we solve this? I wouldn't be coming here if I didn't have a solution for that. It comes down to this, and it's really simple. It's no different than how you run your own household. The City of Phoenix has no strategic plan. We don't. You would think that we are. We're a $3.5 billion operation with no true strategic plan of where we want to go, where we want to take it, what is strategic, what isn't, and how we should be partnering with people in the private sector, nonprofits, which will be next here. Those are the entities that know what they're doing. We shouldn't be into every business. So every time we take on a City of Phoenix employee, we have now committed ourselves to 50 years of making sure we take care of them. It's fine to be able to do that. Nobody here has to lose their job at the City of Phoenix. Any new jobs that are open ought to be looked at through a public-private managed competition system. What does that mean? It just basically says find the best way to deliver that service. The City of Phoenix has about 200 employees that we have that fixing cars, changing the oil. We have an average cost per employee for over 13,000 employees at $110,000 per person. It's unsustainable. It creates a structural debt. So the best way to handle this is to look at every job function and say whether or not we should be doing that internally. Everybody still keeps their job. It probably takes 7 to 9 years or more to solve, but everybody here gets protected, everyone's safe that way, but we start looking at new models, new ways of delivering the same service. Most of us would agree that we want to keep our police and fire under the government control. But landscapers, they should be able to be looked at, especially when you're looking at a cost of $110,000 per person. An oil change is an oil change. We shouldn't be doing that type of business if it can be done better, cheaper, and faster in the private sector. So this is really the solution. I'm going to have a more in-depth program when we're starting to talk about the property tax and why you should vote, and literally start contacting your local politician and tell them, no way do we want this tax on us. Because when you start looking at this, and you look at all the government waste that's going on at the City of Phoenix, and there's a real solution to solve it, that is the direction that we need to be going on in the City of Phoenix. Thank you for listening in. This is Sal DiCiccio, Phoenix City Councilman, District 6.